The System Failed, a new novel by VMS. Chapter 1. The iron gate creaked open with a reluctant growl. As Meena pushed in, her daughter trailed behind, lugging a half-filled suitcase, her thin frame straining against the weight. The bungalow stood silent in the late afternoon light, as old but a dignified house, its paint peeling in corners. The balcony had shaded by new trees. To Meena, it looked like a promise, a place away from the city's noise where perhaps she could rebuild her life. The landlord, Mr. Raghav, waited at the doorway, his hands clasped behind his back. He was in his early 40s, tall with streaks of grey in his hair and a thin smile that lingered too long. Welcome, madam, he said warmly, his eyes scanning her from head to toe before resting on her daughter. You will find peace here, no disturbances, no neighbors poking their nose. Amina forced a polite smile. That's all I need. She followed him through the rooms. A living room smelled faintly of mothballs, and the kitchen tile chipped at the edges, but the windows open to sunlight. She nodded. It was not perfect, but it was hers, at least for now. Her daughter tucked her hand. Amma, this room gets the sun in the morning. Can I take it? Meena smiled faintly. Yes, you can. This will be your study room. And Raga watched them with an intensity that unsettled her. He cleared his throat. Don't worry about repairs, madam. I will do it within 2 days. And if you need anything, I will come myself. You won't have to lift a finger. There was something about the way he said myself that made her shift uneasily, but she reminded herself that men like him, widowed, lonely landlords were often overly familiar. She had dealt with worse in her years of survival. That evening, after settling the suitcases, Meena sat on the balcony sipping tea along with the daughter. And as she was arranging her books, the landlord appeared again, holding a basket of fruits and sweets. I thought you might like these. They are from my garden and prepared by my mother. Meena hesitated. That is kind of you, thank you, but I don't want. He leaned against a pillar, his tone casual but eyes sharp. You're a strong woman. Living alone with a daughter isn't easy. Please take care. People will talk unless you find someone to stand by you. She stiffened. I have stood alone for years. I will manage. His smile widened, unblinking. You don't have to think about it. This house could be more than just rented walls. It could be your own, our own. The words hung heavy in the dusk, and Meena excused herself quickly, closing the door behind. And her hands trembled as she locked it and double locked it, and an instinct telling her this house was not as safe as it looked. Her daughter called from the other room, Amma, what's wrong? And Meena steadied her voice, nothing. You can carry on with your studies and arrangement. I feel a bit tired, but deep inside she knew this was the beginning of another battle. And the next chapter, pressure mounts. It began subtly. Every morning, Raghav made it a point to appear at the balcony, pretending to check the plants or sweep the yard. He brought milk packets, vegetables, even firewood, in order to keep herself comfortable during night of the winter. At first, Meena accepted politely, grateful for the help, but soon she realized it wasn't kindness, it was control. One evening, as she returned from her regular classes, he blocked her at the gate. You should not go out so often. Men will notice. You are attractive, vulnerable. Meena's jaw tightened. I have work. I can't sit inside like a prisoner. I am an entrepreneur. His smile was thin. Not if you are my wife, and then no one will dare. Meena stepped past, refusing to answer, but his words lingered like smoke in her mind. Her daughter noticed her silence at dinner. Amma, is this uncle bothering you? Meena forced a smile. Eat your food. Don't worry, I could manage. But inside, she knew it was only getting worse. Next chapter, she locked herself inside. The turning point came a week later. Meena returned home to find the front gate locked. When she called the landlord, he arrived slowly, dangling the key in his hand. hand. I changed it for safety, he said, eyes gleaming. Don't worry, I will always keep it with me. Her stomach dropped. You had no right. I'm the tenant. Give me the key. He leaned closer, his breath sour with tobacco and liquor. You will get everything once you accept me. Don't fight fate, Meena. You belong here with me. And her daughter came running, sensing the tension. Meena grabbed the key from his hand with sudden force and slammed the door shut. That night she sat awake, listening to footsteps pacing outside. She realized she was living inside a cage, one controlled by the very man who owned the roof above her. And the next chapter, the harassment grew unbearable. Late night knocks rattled the door. His voice whispered through the window grills. And Meena, don't be stubborn. You can't live like this forever. When she stopped answering his calls, he began cutting off the water supply. Once her gas delivery was mysteriously cancelled, the final straw came when he barged into a balcony unannounced, holding a Mangal Sutra in his hand. Wear it, end this drama. You are mine already. Why resist? Meena snatched it from him and flung it aside. Her voice shook, but it rose with anger. I would rather beg on the streets than call you as my husband. Leave before I scream for the whole neighborhood. His eyes darkened for the first time. His voice carried a threat. Scream all you want. No one will believe you. You are just a widow, a tenant, and I have the power. That night, Meena sat at her desk, trembling but resolute. She wrote out her complaint on plain paper, each word a blade against her fear. By dawn, she had decided she would go to the police, and the next day, she had entered the police station, which smelled sweat, dust, and stale tea. Fans ground, and overhead, pushing hot air in circles. Meena clutched a folder complaint, her palms damp. Her daughter waiting outside on the scooter seat. Inside the station, HO, that is station house officer, sat behind a desk piled with files. He was stout, balding, his moustache trimmed to sharp edges. His eyes, however, were not on the paper she handed him. They lingered too long, sliding over her. He skimmed the complaint lazily and leaned back in his chair. So, your landlord wants to marry you? That's not a crime, madam. Men approach women all the time. Meena swallowed hard. He is harassing me, locking me out, cutting my water, threatening me. I live in fear. The SHO chuckled. Fear or just misunderstanding? These things can be settled. He tapped the desk, then reached for his phone. Let's call him. I will fix it. Before she could protest, the landlord's voice echoed from the speakerphone. Why she has been making noise? No, you explain to her you are in charge. The SHO smirked at Meena. See, he respects me. Don't worry. We will work something out. Her stomach turned and churned. She had come for justice. Instead, the officer was already speaking the landlord's language. The next chapter and the compromise. The SHO leaned closer, lowering his voice. Look, madam, court cases are messy. People will talk your name, your daughter's name ruined. Better to compromise. Meena stiffened. I came here for protection, not a lecture. He gave me a cold smile. Protection comes in many forms. You don't want to make enemies of men who can control your future. Her throat tightened. She could feel the walls of the station pressing in around her. Constable smirked, pretending to shuffle papers. The landlord's voice burst through the phone again. Tell her, boy, she will listen to you. She can't escape. The SHO disconnected the call and slipped her complaint into a drawer. Think it over. I will call you tonight. We will settle this privately. When Meena walked out, her daughter looked up with hopeful eyes. Did they register the complaint, Amma? Meena could not answer. She only started the scooter and drew away, her silence heavier than words. The next chapter, the continuous call. That night, her phone rang. The SHO name lit up the screen. Come to the station late after 10. No one will be here. We will talk in peace. Meena froze. This is not right. I came for justice. He cut off her. Justice is what I give. Don't test my patience. Over the next days, the calls multiplied. At first about her case, then his tone shifted. You are very beautiful. A woman like you alone. You deserve attention. One video call came past midnight. She hesitated, then answered. His face filled the screen, his grin shameless. Show me your hair loose. You look too strict all the time. Relax. Mina's hand shook as she entered the call, but he kept trying. Night after night, his voice stalked her through the phone. Her daughter noticed her restless nights the way she locked the phone away in the cupboard. Amma, who keeps calling you? Mina forced a smile. Just the station, nothing important. But she knew the truth that a protector had become another predator. And how the trap has been, spinned. The next night was heavy with silence when the phone buzzed again. The SHO's name glowed like poison on the screen. Mina hesitated, then answered, determined to put an end to this. His voice was thick, taunting. You think you are clever, madam. Avoiding me won't work. You want your case moved forward, then you must cooperate. She stayed silent, her heart pounding. His face loomed close on the screen, his smile curling into something darker. Then, without warning, he shifted the camera. He exposed himself, shameless, laughing. This is what you will get if you want my help, he sneered. Mina's stomach lurched, but her fingers didn't freeze. She pressed record. Every word, every movement, and every gesture was captured. When the call ended, she sat in the dark, clutching her phone, trembling with both fear and fire. This time they can't silence me. And her approach to the commissioner, the next chapter. The commissioner, the next morning, Meena marched into the police commissioner's office, her daughter waiting outside. She looked small against the polished wood and glass, but her voice, though shaking, carried weight. Sir, I came for help. Instead, your SHO is harassing me. I have proof. The commissioner frowned. Proof? Meena unlocked her phone, pressed play. The video filled the silence, obscene gestures. The SHO was flashing and his voice, his threats, and the commissioner's face darkened. He snapped at his side. His aide suspend him immediately, hand over his badge. For the first time in months, Meena felt a glimmer of relief. Justice had finally moved. She walked out lighter, her daughter hugging her tightly. Amma, it's over, and Meena smiled faintly. At least he can't hurt us anymore. The next chapter, the written. 3 months later, while waiting at a traffic signal, Meena froze. There he was in khaki, whistle in his mouth, directing cars with the same arrogance in his stance. The SHO, now traffic inspector. Their eyes met, his lips curled into a mocking smile, as if nothing had happened, as if her proof, her courage, her sleepless nights had meant nothing. Meena gripped the scooter handle so hard her knuckles whitened. Her daughter whispered, Amma, that's him. She nodded, her voice breaking. Yes, that's him. And this is our system. The light turned green and the traffic flowed. But in her chest, Meena felt only the weight of betrayal. And the next chapter, the courtroom, the court smelled of dust and old files. Ceiling fans stirred warm with air, and that did little to cool the sweat of Meena's palms. She clutched the FAR copy as though it was a kind of lifeline. Her lawyer whispered, stay strong. Today is just a hearing, but her eyes darted across the room. There sat Raghav, the landlord, dressed in crisp white and faint smile playing on his lip. His eyes did not leave her, not once. The judge arrived and the gavel struck. The case was called. Meena stood, her voice steady as she repeated the truth she had lived. He confined me, he threatened me, he forced himself into my life under the pretext of marriage. But as she spoke, she saw the landlord whispering into the ears of his counsel, who nodded with the calm confidence of someone who already knew the outcome. And the next chapter, the cross examination. Days later, she sat again on the witness stand. The defense lawyer circled her like a predator, his tone sharp, his words sharper. You lived in his house rent free, is that correct? Meena's voice wavered. I paid rent every month until he stopped accepting it. He smirked. So you chose to stay? No, he locked the gates. He answered yes or no. He Answer yes or no, madam. Did you stay in his bungalow? The judge's gavel silenced her prater. She bit her lip, rage boiling beneath her skin. Then came the insinuations. Perhaps you gave him hope of marriage. Perhaps you encouraged his. Attention caps ripple in the gallery. Meena's cheeks burned. She wanted to scream, I'm the victim, not the accused. But in that room, it felt as if the rules had already been decided. And the next chapter, the price of justice. 2 years crawled by hearings postponed, papers lost, judges transferred, and always Raga walked in with confidence, sometimes even smirking at her as he passed. Rumors floated of envelopes exchanged, of dinners shared with men in robes. One afternoon, her lawyer finally told her the truth in a hushed tone. He has bribed everyone he can, even the judge. I'm sorry. Mina sat in stunned silence, her daughter's hand clutching hers. She had given the law her faith, her strength, her dignity, and the law had sold it all for a price. When the final verdict came, insufficient evidence, case dismissed, the gavel fell like a death sentence on her trust. Outside the courtroom, Raghav walked past her slowly, his smile deliberate. Told you no one will believe you. Meena turned her face away, but her heart whispered, they will one day. Even if the system betrays me, the truth won't die here. And the fear continued. Meena returned home that evening with her head bowed. Her daughter had been unusually quiet, her books untouched on the study table. Amma, why don't we relocate? Why do they want you to lose? She whispered, her eyes wide and anxious. Why can't they see what is true? And Meena knelt beside her because sometimes people in power forget right from wrong, but that doesn't mean we stop fighting, not ever. And she hugged her tightly for a moment. The fear seemed to lift, but Meena knew that courage alone would not be enough to navigate the storm ahead. And the next chapter, the constable's note. A week later, Meena returned from filing a small complaint at the station. A note had been slipped under the door, folded neatly like a secret. I know what he did. Be careful, record everything. Don't meet him alone. And it has been inscribed R in bold letter. The handwriting was precise and familiar. She realized it was from Constable Rekha, a young officer who had noticed the SHO's behavior. Hopes sparked within her, not even in the system was corrupt. Someone was watching quietly, waiting to help her survive this. And the media spark. An activist friend introduced Meena to a local journalist, a woman with sharp eyes and not patience for injustice. Over cups of strong coffee, Meena recounted the ordeal, the landlord, the SHO, the court. Within days, the story appeared in a small regional newspaper. Tenant harassed twice by landlord and officer. It wasn't a headline story, but it sent ripples. Calls came from other women, some victims of similar harassment. Anonymous men called her threatening messages, but the article had given her a shield. People were now watching. For the first time in months, Meena realized she did not have to fight alone. And the threats started next chapter. The threats began subtly at first. Anonymous calls late at night, her door rattled by unknown hands, shadowy figures lingering near her gate. One evening, when her daughter was asleep, Meena noticed the headlights parked across the street, engine running. Her phone buzzed. Stop complaining, or your truth will cost more than you can pay. Meena's fingers trembled. Fear clawed at her chest, but she forced herself to breathe. She remembered the recording she had made of the SHO, the evidence she had given to the commissioner. She whispered to herself, I will not bow, I cannot. And the next chapter, the alley, Inspector Dinesh, the new inspector, arrived unannounced at a home one evening. Mid 40s and a steady eyes, clear Gemino. I have heard your story, he said quietly. Not everyone in the system is corrupt. I want to help you. Discreetly introduced her to digital activists and NGOs, and together they documented her ordeal, collected proof and strategies based to pressure the system. Even if the courts fail you, your story must survive, he said. That alone can save others. For the first time, Meena felt a measure of hope. Someone inside the system was genuinely on her side. In the next chapter, the months passed, her finances drained, and her daughter fell ill because of stress and fear. Neighbors whispered, relatives advised her to stop fighting. Meena felt herself teetering on the edge of exhaustion. One night, she sat by the window, watching the dark street outside and the starlit skies, tears streaking her face. What if they are right? What if I have destroyed everything for nothing? And a daughter beside her, fragile but firm. Amma, you showed me we don't bow down. Even if he walks free, you didn't. That is stronger than any verdict. Her mother's tears continued, but this time they carried determination. Mina realized survival was not about legal victories, it was about refusing to be silenced. And the next chapter, it is about the courtroom climax. The courtroom was packed. Mina's palms were damp, her heart pounding. Every detail she had collected, the threats, harassments, the bribes, felt fragile against the weight of the legal machinery. Defense lawyer circled like a predator. Madam, isn't it true you stayed in his house willingly? Isn't it true you never complained earlier? She held her ground, voice firm. I was trapped. He threatened me. I lived in fear. The judge listened impassively, occasionally glancing down at documents clearly influenced by the defense. Outside, Raghav's smug smile was visible even though the courtroom windows. And Meena realized the truth. In this room, the law was a game and she was playing against stacked odds. Finally, the verdict, 2 years entered in a brief sentence, insufficient evidence, case dismissed. The gavel fell with a finality that felt like a physical blow. Raghavan stood adjusting his coat and passed her in a slow, deliberate smile. Told you no one will believe you, the gallery whispered, some sympathetic, some indifferent, but Meena could see clearly the system had failed her, first in the local court and next in the city court. Both the places it got failed. And finally, the days later, while driving, she realized that she could not escape from these kind of people, and somehow she had made up her mind to be a survivor. The survivor's voice. Meena stood at the podium of a small women's rights seminar, her hands steady despite the nervous fluttering in her stomach. Around her, other survivors watched, some silent, some nodding, and everything went on. And finally, she realized that true justice is not something she is going to get. Months later, Meena walked at the bungalow but had once imprisoned her. She passed the gates were still there, the walls the same, and she was no longer afraid. And she whispered to herself, that is, though I am not getting justice, I am not going to stop my fight. The predators had escaped law, the system had betrayed me, yet she had reclaimed her something no one could take, her voice, her courage, and a moral victory. Justice is not always in the courtroom, she thought. Sometimes it is in surviving, speaking, and protecting those who cannot. As they walked together, and her story would live on, louder than the gavel, stronger than the uniform, and unyielding against the darkness of corruption.